Have you ever stopped to ask yourself why so many people feel restless, anxious, and never truly satisfied with their lives? Why no matter how much they achieve, it never feels enough? The truth is simple, yet deeply unsettling. Most of us are looking in the wrong direction. We spend more time watching others than we do watching ourselves. Every scroll, every comparison, every fleeting judgment becomes a silent thief of our joy, confidence, and inner peace. And yet, this is not just a harmless habit, it's a trap. A trap that slowly steals your potential while convincing you that success is something that exists somewhere else, in someone else, and never within you. Imagine living your life always chasing shadows of other people's achievements, never realizing that the real power is quietly waiting inside you. This is why it's time to pause, to breathe, to step back from the endless race of comparison and ask yourself one simple question. What if everything I needed to succeed, to grow, to become unstoppable, was already inside me? The answer to that question is not found in likes, comments, or applause. It's found in silence. It's found in turning your gaze inward and learning to value your own journey above all else. And in this video, you will discover not just why this matters, but how mastering this one principle, focusing on yourself and not others, can completely upgrade your life in ways that feel almost magical. Before we dive deeper, there's something important you need to know. If you stay with this video until the very end, you will unlock a mindset shift so powerful that you'll begin to see your life in an entirely new light. You'll start to feel a calm strength inside, a quiet confidence that doesn't need validation. And most importantly, you'll discover the secret to transforming every ounce of your effort into results that speak for themselves. That's the reward waiting for you, a reward that can change everything if you are willing to focus deeply. Let's start by understanding why focusing on others feels so natural, yet so destructive. Human psychology is wired to notice comparisons. From an evolutionary standpoint, assessing the abilities and status of others helped our ancestors survive. But in the modern world, this natural instinct has been hijacked by social media, peer pressure, and the endless noise of other people's lives. Every picture, every story, every success that you see online triggers a mental calculation. Am I enough? Am I doing enough? Do I measure up? Your brain interprets this as a threat, even if it's only a highlight reel of someone else's life. And here's the problem. You are comparing your behind the scenes with everyone else's carefully curated spotlight. This creates stress, envy, and self-doubt, and it keeps you trapped in a cycle that never ends. But here's the truth. While others are busy living for attention, recognition, and approval, those who focus on themselves are quietly building a life that is unstoppable. They are the ones who wake up every morning with purpose, who measure their growth by their own standards, not by someone else's accomplishments. And here's a critical insight from psychology. The human mind thrives on personal progress. Seeing yourself improve, even in small ways, releases dopamine and creates motivation that no external validation can match. Every step you take toward your own growth compounds. Every skill you learn, every small victory you celebrate quietly, strengthens your confidence and resilience. And the best part? This growth happens in silence. It's invisible to the world, but it is irreversible inside you. Think about it. While someone is scrolling endlessly, checking notifications, and wondering why their life isn't like someone else's, you could be quietly sharpening your mind, building your skills, and mastering your emotions. Every moment spent focusing on others is energy wasted. And energy is the most valuable currency you have. You cannot earn more hours in the day, and you cannot reclaim time lost worrying about someone else's journey. But every moment you invest in yourself, every ounce of focus you redirect inward, compounds into results that are unstoppable, inevitable, and life-changing. And this is where the first spark of freedom comes in. The realization that no one can take away what you build internally. Money can be stolen. recognition can fade, popularity can disappear. But the skills, mindset, discipline, and inner peace you cultivate quietly are yours forever. That's the invisible wealth of focusing on yourself, the silent strength that no one else can touch. And it's available to anyone willing to stop looking outward and start looking inward. This is not just philosophy, it's strategy. It's a psychology-backed approach to life that has propelled the most successful people in history to greatness. They understood that showing off, comparing, and chasing approval is a trap. The real power lies in consistent action, self-improvement, and quiet focus. While the world is busy commenting on everyone else's life, you have the chance to silently build a life that even your doubters cannot ignore. So, if you are watching this now, I want you to make a choice to stop letting comparison control your thoughts, your energy, and your decisions. A choice to step off the hamster wheel of social validation and step onto a path of inner growth, discipline, and unstoppable momentum. Stay with this video, because in the next sections, you'll discover how to build that focus, how to develop the mindset that shields you from distractions, and how to let your results speak so loudly that the world has no choice but to notice. The reward at the end is not just a motivational feeling, it's a strategy to completely upgrade your life. The reason this happens is rooted deep in human psychology. The brain is wired to notice differences. From a survival standpoint, noticing who was stronger, faster, or more successful could have meant the difference between safety and danger. But in today's world, this instinct has shifted against us. Every time you compare yourself to someone else, your brain releases stress hormones that make you feel inadequate. That tension, that discomfort, triggers self-doubt and slowly trains your mind to focus on others rather than your own journey. Over time, this becomes a habit, and habits shape your reality. The more you look outward for validation or benchmarks, the further you move away from building the life you truly desire. Understanding this is crucial because awareness is the first step toward freedom. The moment you notice the impulse to compare, you have a choice. You can either let it control you, or you can redirect that energy inward. Redirecting your focus is not about ignoring the world or pretending other people don't exist. It's about prioritizing your own growth, progress, and vision over external noise. It's about realizing that no one else holds the map to your success. Only you do. And when this shift happens, your energy multiplies. Time that was once wasted on envy or distraction becomes fuel for skill, discipline, and resilience. The power of this shift cannot be overstated. When your attention moves from external validation to internal mastery, you unlock a state of flow that is rare and transformative. In this state, learning feels effortless, progress feels visible, and confidence is no longer fragile. You begin to measure your achievements not by what others think, but by your own standards and values. Every small improvement becomes a victory. Every challenge overcome becomes evidence of your strength. And the best part? These victories are immune to the opinions of others. They are permanent because they exist within you. Let's explore why focusing on yourself leads to exponential growth. When attention is scattered across comparisons, the brain struggles to process any single task deeply. Multitasking between self-improvement and monitoring others reduces effectiveness. This is where psychology offers a clear insight. Concentrated focus produces results far beyond what busy distraction can achieve. Even a small amount of deliberate, uninterrupted work on your goals compounds over weeks and months. This is why those who work quietly, who measure their success by personal benchmarks rather than external applause, consistently surpass those who chase attention or approval. Your mind, when trained on your own life, becomes a tool of extraordinary power. It's also important to recognize the emotional cost of living for others. When the mind is constantly comparing, it is rarely at peace. Anxiety, restlessness, and frustration become companions in daily life. The paradox is that the more you look outside yourself, the more insecure you feel. But the moment you turn inward, these negative emotions begin to dissolve. You start to feel a steady confidence that doesn't depend on recognition or reward. Every day becomes an opportunity to build, improve, and strengthen yourself, not for anyone else, but for the person you are becoming. This internal focus creates a mental shield that protects you from unnecessary stress and allows you to operate at your full potential. The process of refocusing requires discipline and intention. It's natural for the mind to wander toward comparisons. The difference is in how you respond. You can gently remind yourself that your journey is unique. You can measure progress in your own terms, track growth by personal milestones, and celebrate improvements that are invisible to the outside world. Over time, this practice rewires your brain. It trains your attention to gravitate toward self-mastery rather than distraction, toward creation rather than judgment, toward personal excellence rather than external validation. And as your focus strengthens, so does your life. Another key insight from human psychology is that happiness and fulfillment come from competence, not comparison. The mind experiences joy and motivation when it notices growth, learning, and achievement. These rewards are deeply internal, sustainable, and empowering. In contrast, seeking happiness from watching others succeed is fleeting, unpredictable, and draining. Focusing on yourself creates a positive feedback loop. The more you invest in your skills, mindset, and actions, the more capable you feel. The more capable you feel, the more motivated you become. And the cycle continues, quietly building momentum toward a life that feels abundant, meaningful, and unstoppable. Finally, consider the long-term impact of where you place your focus. Every thought, every decision, every action compounds over time. Comparing yourself to others may bring temporary distraction or comfort, but it never builds a foundation. Personal growth, however, accumulates silently. Every hour spent learning, practicing, reflecting, or improving becomes a building block for a future that cannot be taken from you. Success is not an accident. It is the sum of intentional choices made day after day. And when you dedicate those choices to yourself, rather than the opinions or achievements of others, you step onto a path where extraordinary results are inevitable. So today, make a conscious decision. Observe your mind without judgment and notice where your attention goes. Notice how often you measure your worth by someone else's life. And then, with purpose and clarity, redirect that energy inward. Build your skills, strengthen your mind, expand your vision. Each moment invested in yourself compounds into a life of freedom, power, and satisfaction that no comparison can ever threaten. The quiet work you do today lays the foundation for an extraordinary tomorrow, and the more you commit to this internal focus, the faster your life will rise above distractions, doubts, and limits imposed by others. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to rise quietly, achieving more without making noise, while others are constantly busy, yet struggle to move forward? The difference is not luck, talent, or opportunity. It's focus. The way attention is directed determines the path of life. Most people invest their energy outside themselves, reacting to what others are doing, thinking, or achieving. They are pulled by opinions, comparisons, and judgments. Every distraction steals clarity. Every moment spent measuring life against someone else's standard slows progress. True advancement, the kind that transforms life permanently, begins when attention turns inward, toward building, growing, and strengthening the self. Society often conditions people to look outward for success. From a young age, comparisons are normalized. Grades, achievements, appearances, and social status are presented as benchmarks of worth. This conditioning makes the mind believe that value comes from outperforming others or being recognized publicly. But this is a trap, because the pursuit of external approval is never-ending. There is always someone faster, smarter, or more accomplished. The chase becomes exhausting, leaving individuals mentally and emotionally drained. Meanwhile, those who prioritize personal growth find that life begins to align with their purpose naturally. Their energy is not fragmented, their goals are clear, and their progress feels deeply satisfying. Psychology shows that humans are wired for pattern recognition and rewards. When focus is scattered, the brain constantly seeks stimuli from the outside world. This creates a loop of distraction and superficial achievement, where attention is always diverted toward others rather than toward oneself. But when the mind is trained to concentrate on internal objectives, motivation becomes intrinsic. You no longer depend on praise, approval, or comparisons. Each small success produces a sense of accomplishment that fuels the next step. Over time, this internal motivation grows stronger than any external validation, allowing you to advance steadily, quietly, and powerfully. The key to mastering this focus is understanding what truly matters to you. Many people waste energy on things that hold little personal value, simply because others are pursuing them. Goals that are shaped by societal expectations often feel hollow, leaving a lingering sense of dissatisfaction. In contrast, when your objectives are aligned with your own vision and values, every action carries meaning. Work becomes purposeful, effort feels rewarding, and challenges are met with resilience instead of frustration. This alignment between intention and action is the foundation of silent, unstoppable growth. Focusing inward also enhances emotional stability. The mind is naturally prone to overthinking when it is influenced by outside comparisons. Anxiety, self-criticism, and fear of judgment become constant companions. Shifting attention inward allows you to reclaim control over your mental state. You begin to recognize that your worth is not determined by someone else's achievements. You start to measure progress against your own standards. And as this practice strengthens, confidence becomes independent of approval. You become grounded, self-reliant, and resilient in the face of challenges that once felt overwhelming. Consider the long-term effect of where your attention goes. Energy spent on others may provide short-term distraction, but it never creates enduring results. Time invested in personal development compounds silently, producing confidence, skill, clarity, and a sense of purpose. These qualities cannot be borrowed, bought, or imitated. They must be cultivated from within. And the beauty of this approach is that it creates freedom. Freedom from envy, freedom from distraction, and freedom from the endless pursuit of validation. Your life begins to unfold according to your own vision, rather than being shaped by the influence of external forces. Finally, the journey of self-focus is also a journey of empowerment. It teaches that control lies not in circumstances, opinions, or outcomes, but in how attention is directed and energy is spent. Each moment spent improving, learning, and growing is a declaration of independence from external pressures. Every step forward reinforces the truth that your potential is determined by your choices, not by the actions of others. And as this practice becomes habitual, life itself begins to respond. Opportunities appear, confidence grows, and results emerge that are disproportionate to the effort invested, all because attention has been disciplined and purpose has been clarified. So, begin by observing where your mind wanders throughout the day. Notice the moments you feel envy, distraction, or doubt. Recognize them without judgment, and then consciously shift your energy inward. Focus on what you can control, what you can build, and what you can improve. Every deliberate effort strengthens your foundation. Every step taken in silence compounds into results that will eventually speak louder than words ever could. The transformation is not immediate, but it is inevitable for anyone willing to commit to themselves, their growth, and their vision. The quiet path may seem invisible now, but it is the road that leads to extraordinary life, unshaken confidence, and fulfillment that is unassailable by comparison. Have you ever noticed how quickly the opinions of others can cloud your mind? Even the smallest comment, the quietest judgment, or a fleeting glance can pull you off balance. This is because humans are wired to seek acceptance and belonging. From a young age, the brain learns that approval equals safety. While this served a purpose in the past, today it often works against us. Seeking constant validation from others consumes energy, creates self-doubt, and distracts from the goals that matter most. Each time attention shifts to what others think, the mind loses focus, and opportunities for personal growth slip quietly away. Breaking free from this pattern requires understanding that your value is not determined externally. No one else's opinion has the power to define your potential. Yet for many, this is difficult to accept because the mind has been conditioned to crave acknowledgement. When you redirect that craving inward, something remarkable happens. You begin to measure success by your own progress, by the skills you cultivate, and by the strength of your character. Validation becomes internal, consistent, and reliable. This shift alone creates a sense of freedom that is unmatched by any external recognition. One of the most powerful strategies for this transformation is practicing self-reflection. Take time to observe your thoughts and emotions without judgment. Notice how often they are influenced by what others are doing, saying, or achieving. This awareness is the first step toward regaining control. Psychology shows that conscious attention can reshape neural pathways. When you repeatedly choose to focus on your own development rather than reacting to external noise, your brain gradually rewires itself to prioritize growth and self-mastery. Over time, this becomes a habit, and habits determine outcomes. Focusing inward also strengthens resilience. Life will always present challenges, setbacks, and criticism. When your sense of worth is tied to others' opinions, these obstacles feel heavier, more personal, and more defeating. But when self-confidence comes from your own effort, your reactions change. Challenges become tests, criticism becomes information, and setbacks become lessons. Each difficulty is no longer a threat, but a tool to sharpen your abilities. The mind grows stronger, emotions stabilize, and the ability to handle pressure without losing clarity increases dramatically. Another essential aspect is the cultivation of discipline. Progress does not come from sporadic effort. It emerges from consistent, deliberate action. Daily routines, intentional practice, and persistent learning are the building blocks of transformation. The more you invest in yourself, the less appealing external distractions become. Every moment spent developing skills, building knowledge, or strengthening habits compounds silently, creating an invisible momentum that propels life forward. Unlike recognition or applause, these results cannot be taken away. They are permanent because they are built inside you. Focus also fuels creativity. When the mind is not cluttered with comparisons or influenced by judgment, it can explore ideas freely. Innovation requires space and calm. Solitude, often mistaken for isolation, becomes a laboratory for growth. Here, thoughts can be refined, strategies can be developed, and solutions can be discovered that would never appear amidst constant distraction. The more you invest in quiet focus, the more your ideas gain clarity, depth, and effectiveness. This internal work produces results that are not dependent on others' approval. They emerge naturally and powerfully. It is also important to recognize the psychological principle of intrinsic motivation. Motivation that comes from within is far more sustainable than any external incentive. When your goals are aligned with personal values and aspirations, effort feels natural, and persistence becomes easier. The mind rewards progress, not comparison. Every skill acquired, every habit strengthened, and every small victory reinforces a sense of capability that is self-sufficient. The more you rely on internal motivation, the less vulnerable you become to distraction, doubt, or negativity from outside sources. Shifting focus inward also changes perception. Instead of seeing life as a competition or a series of judgments, it becomes a personal journey. You start to notice opportunities, strengths, and potential that were previously invisible. Small achievements begin to feel significant because they reflect true growth. Your energy becomes intentional rather than reactive. This mental clarity allows better decision-making, faster problem-solving, and a deeper sense of satisfaction. It is a profound transformation that affects every aspect of life, from relationships to work, health, and creativity. Moreover, personal focus builds patience. Progress is rarely immediate. Growth requires time, effort, and consistency. When the mind is trained to depend on external validation, patience becomes difficult because attention constantly seeks immediate reward or recognition. By centering energy on self-improvement, patience develops naturally. You learn to trust the process, embrace incremental changes, and understand that the results of quiet work often appear long after the effort is made. This delayed gratification strengthens character, enhances resilience, and ultimately leads to achievements far beyond what impatience could produce. Finally, consider the lasting impact of dedicating your attention to yourself. Every distraction avoided, every comparison resisted, and every moment invested inward becomes part of a foundation that is unshakable. Your skills, mindset, and confidence grow quietly, unnoticed by the world, yet unstoppable in effect. The world may be loud, opinionated, and full of distractions, but your internal focus creates a sanctuary of clarity, strength, and power. This is the essence of upgrading life in silence, the transformation that occurs inside first, shaping everything outside without the need for validation or approval. Now, the choice is yours. Observe where your thoughts go. Notice when you are pulled into judgment, comparison, or distraction. Then redirect that energy intentionally. Invest it in learning, creating, and improving. Build habits that reinforce your growth. Strengthen your mind, your skills, and your resilience. Every effort compounds, every moment spent wisely adds momentum, and every day becomes a step toward a life defined by your own standards, not the expectations or achievements of others. The results will be profound, quiet, and permanent, because true power grows within.